Did your mom also tell you not to walk alone at night? You never know what might happen to you, but the scariest thing is that after such walks, you might never make it home. Almost 70 years have passed since the day of murder of a young American woman named Elizabeth Short, and better known as Black Dahlia. But the mystery story of her brutal death continues to spark the interest to these days. Very little is known about her life before the day of her murder. She was born on July 29 in 1924 in Boston, was raised by her mother and moved frequently. When she was 15, she was diagnosed with asthma and underwent the surgery, after which she moved to Miami to recover. Then she briefly lived with her father in California. Then she left him and moved to Los Angeles. There she wanted to build her film career in Hollywood, but she didn't manage to break into acting. And her private life didn't work out either. All of her romances were short and unserious. The last time 22-year-old brunette was seen alive was on January 9, 1947, in a lobby of Biltmore Hotel, downtown Los Angeles. At that time, very few people paid attention to her, and certainly nobody knew her name. But everything changed. A week later, when her dismembered body was found on vacant lot. That was time when all of the America began talking about Elizabeth Short. On the morning of January 15, Betty Berzinger was walking with her young daughter through a newly developed neighborhood in Leimert Park, when she noticed what she initially thought was the two halves of Taylor's mannequin. But it was not a mannequin. Short was carefully cut in half at the waist. Her blood had been drained and internal organs removed, and her mouth was slashed from ear to ear in so-called Glasgow smile, a method which had only begun appearing in city's criminal world. The body had been fully washed and then dumped in vacant lot. Near the body, detectives found a high-heel shoe print, a cement bag with traces of blood and signs of gasoline, which had been used to clear the corpse. According to the experts, Short's body had been lying for more than 10 hours before the woman found it. It was also assumed that she had been raped and then murdered. The first suspect in the case was a young man named Robert Manley, who was the last man the girl saw shortly before the death. However, after multiple examinations and the lie detector test of Manley, it was not confirmed that he took a part in this murder. When news about the crime broke, American press went crazy. Former Los Angeles police officer described it as brutal, misogynistic, and essentially ritualistic. During the investigation, they questioned more than 50 suspects, both men and women, and even some of them confessed to the crime. However, the real killer was never found, which only added mystery to the case. Soon after the investigation began, mysterious messages started arriving to police stations and media outlets. A week after the body was found, a person who identified himself as Short's killer called offices of Examiner newspaper. He claimed that he would send victims' personal belongings as a proof. Soon, the package did arrive to a newsroom. Inside there were Elizabeth's birth certificate, photographs, business cards, and her address book. The items came along with a letter. It was written in it, "I will confess to Black Dahlia murder if you will give me 10-year sentence. Do not try to find me." However, the items did not become the evidences because they were carefully wiped out with gasoline and contained no fingerprints. In 1999, the retired police detective Steve Hodel decided to launch his own private investigation into the girl's murder. The man claimed that his died father was involved in the death of Elizabeth Short. The detective came to this conclusion after analyzing his father's personal belongings. There he found photographs with a young girl who reminded Elizabeth Short. Papers with handwriting, which was very similar to that one which came to police station and newspapers. Another fact was that his father actually had a medical degree. The fact that during the examinations, experts concluded that the corpse was made with according all medical rules. And in addition, Hodel found a receipt dated a few days before murder for buying a bag of concrete, the same size and the same brand as the bag which was found next to the girl's body. Later, it was found that his father was one of the main suspects in the case in 1950s. His house even had been bugged, but the police couldn't obtain any important audio records for the investigation. Going deeper into life of his father, the detective concluded that he might be connected to the zone's other case. And then Hodel even concluded that the famous Zodiac killer of another case could also be his father. The nickname also played a role. It was created by journalists after the girl's death, as an analogy to the film The Blue Dahlia, which was released a year before. Elizabeth's hair did in fact resemble the flower. The Black Dahlia became the topic for academic papers, art projects, television shows, and video games. The rock band even was named after her. In 2006, there was a release of a movie based on James Ellroy's book, which was also inspired by the case of Elizabeth Short. In Biltmore Hotel, they still offer a cocktail which is named the Black Dahlia. There is still a lot of theories around this case. Some people believe that this murder is a result of not successful date. Some people think that she struggled with money, so she decided to go hitchhiking and got in the wrong car. But if you ask me, I will stay with a theory which was provided by Steve Hodel and his investigation. He wrote a whole series of books which are named The Black Dahlia, and wrote there about his father's personal documents, papers, and all of the cases that he can be possibly connected with.